Welcome back. I'm Chef Luis Cortez, owner of Savor and Gather Personal Chef Services. Today we're going to do a stuffed arañita. It's a plantain that we shredded. We make like a toast point or a little cup out of it, and then we fry it and we put our filling or whatever on top of it. Whatever you like. Today we're going to fill it with 3 different proteins. It's going to be, one is little TT shrimp, some chicken. I roasted some chicken, grilled chicken, and then we have some pork. Some thick cut bacon. Similar, you can say, is pork belly. Thick cut bacon is almost the same thing. So we have some onions. We're gonna put all in the same thing. We have some yellow onion. We have green bell pepper, red bell peppers. We have some sofrito, homemade, of course. Some all seasoning, some tomato paste, and some garlic, salt and pepper, of course. So this is gonna be my ingredient. We might add a little water to loosen it up a little because the tomato paste is gonna thicken it up a little bit. And then finally, we have our cilantro. It's used in a lot of Latin dishes. So what we do is we turn on our stove. We're going to get this warm, start heating up. And then we're going to start adding our ingredients to saute each one individually. Because I don't want to do all 3 of them because we got some seafood. We don't want to mix all 3. And pork and chicken. Some people can't eat pork. Some people don't want to eat pork for whatever reasons they have. Maybe health reasons, religious reasons, or whatever. And we have some seafood that maybe some people may be allergic to seafood. So you want to keep them, all 3 of them, separate. But you can always put them basically on the same dish, but obviously people would see what they are. And they choose what they like. So let's just start with some onions. It's going to be the same basically for all 3. Some green peppers. Some red bell peppers. Let this saute a little bit. I'm just giving you, I guess, this is the first part. We're going to do these proteins first. Then we're going to go into shredding our plantain and frying it too. Season this up a little bit. Some pink salt. Black pepper. And the garlic, I don't like to put it in the beginning because the garlic tends to become bitter and burn if you overcook the garlic. Obviously, if you're boiling it, it's most likely not going to burn. But if you are sauteing it in some oil, it'll burn and it becomes bitter. Just put a little of our sofrito in there too. That's very fragrant. Smells really good. So this is probably about, let's say, a little more than halfway done. So now I'm gonna put my garlic. Put about maybe a teaspoon. I don't want it to be overwhelmingly garlicky, but I like garlic. I do. Once you add all the ingredients, it'll bring it down a little bit. But obviously, if you put a little too much, it'll be overpowering. So, put some tomato paste, maybe a teaspoonful of tomato paste. And we can start adding. Let's do the shrimp first. A little water, loosen up a little bit. That tomato paste could blend in really well with the water. It loosens it up and lets it become more of a sauce. Basically, those shrimp are cooked, so all we have to do is basically heat it up and let the flavors come together. I think this is done. I guess at this time, the only thing that's left is maybe a little cilantro. I like putting fresh ingredients, fresh herbs in the end because the fresh herbs tend to will die down in the flavor profile when you overcook them. So there we go. one's done. We're going to do the same thing with the other two ingredients and then have them separate. And then we're going to go with our plantain. Here, so I'll put this in a bowl. Wash our frying pan. One thing I forgot to do is put my all seasoning. So it's going to go in now. It will, it's still warm, it's still hot. So it'll definitely mix in and give it that flavor we need. Our onions, green peppers, red peppers. Let that come together, some salt and pepper. This time I'll put my own seasoning in ahead to make sure I don't forget. Add some butter. A little more oil. Our sofrito. Together nicely. Our garlic now. It seems to be coming together good. Now we're going to add our tomato paste. A little bit of water. Mixing that out. Get that tomato paste dissolved. And we'll do our chicken. Cilantro in the end. As usual, a little bit more salt and pepper. More all seasoning, and I think we're good with this one. Now we rinse this out again with soap and water. Now this one we're going to do a little differently. We'll add the butter. But we're going to add the bacon first because of the fact that the bacon has fat and we want to render that fat and we want it to be part of our recipe and be flavorful in that recipe. So we're going to let that render out before we put any other ingredient in there. Okay, starting to brown, get some nice color. So we're going to add our ingredients here. Some onion, green and red bell pepper, let that soften up a little bit. Tomato paste, the sofrito, all seasoning. Bacon's a little salty, so we gotta be careful not to over season and over salt. Time we'll just do a little pepper first, and then we'll check the salt level. You'll probably use a touch. A little more of this. I think we're good. And that drop of water. Just loosen things up a little bit. Turn that on again. Bring everything together. So now we're gonna go with now we're gonna do our arañitas. So the arañitas, I'm gonna put on some gloves because the plantains tend to be a little sticky to work with. They have that what we call maybe milk to it. So peel them. Proteins here. Got a line through it, just on top. Take the knife, run it through the edge, loosen up one side, and then keep peeling it. One side and then the other. There we go. So now I'm going to take it and shred it on my box grater on the thickest side. My oil's heating up. Make that heat up a little faster because this is going to be done really quickly. I'm going to season this up a little. Salt and pepper. Just going to throw a touch of water just to help it, to mix it and for it to stick together. So take like a big spoon and then flatten it out. Make little discs. That's going to be basically my crouton. It's a little seasoned. Let me see if my oil is ready. Just about a few more seconds. I think we'll be good to go. So my oil is on high now because I want my oil to reach the temperature. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it down once it reaches the temperature I want. This you have to do very fast. I would say within 15 minutes, because once you peel it and you start shredding it, it starts to oxidize. It's like, let's say, sort of like an apple, pear, and that thing, or banana, more or less. It's sort of a banana family, but yeah. I think we can start throwing it in. There we go. Just lower my oil. I don't want them to burn. Bring it down really low until the temperature levels out, and then I look for the kind of medium ground there where the temperature is not too high or too low. You want to throw it into some hot oil, but not too hot. But when it's hot enough that you can get it to start frying really quickly, and it doesn't absorb all of that oil. Because if you put it in a low temperature oil, it'll just absorb all the oil and get all just greasy and not soggy. Wouldn't be as crispy as you might want it. So now I'll bring it up to like medium level. And then right there, just let it ride there for a bit. Do about half. Don't want to overcrowd the pan. Do about half at the beginning, half on the other end, on the second throw. It might stick together a little bit, that's fine. You can break them apart. So they have their form, each individual form and shape. That's fine. You just want them to be really crispy. So you want a plate with napkin. Some napkins to absorb that excess oil. Make sure they're really cooked, fully through all the way. It'll take anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes, depending on how fast you fry them, how high your temperature is. So these are just about done. I would say 30 seconds to a minute. They're done. You want them to be crispy, but you don't want them to be too hard and too crispy, because you want them to be a little bit in the center, just a touch soft in the center. Okay, I think they're good. I think they're done. Let them drain a little bit. Put them here. Okay, we're going to throw our second batch in there to get them cooked off. While they're still hot, just put a little bit of salt, not too much, a little bit, so we can season up, and that salt can melt on them. So the plantains, you want them to be really green. You don't want them to be sort of green and in between green and yellow, because when they're yellow, they're already turning sweet, and it's not going to give you that crispiness like you want. When they're really green, then you get that crisp arañita, you get that crisp crouton, sort of crouton basically. So you want it really green. Try to use a good quality oil so it doesn't, and not an old oil. Use a nice fresh oil, good quality oil. I think these are done. Because my oil was already hot, didn't have to wait for that in between time. So I'm going to shut that off. Move these to the side, and then start pulling these out. Drain them a little bit. Okay, now that I got all of these ready to go, I start, just make a little indentation in the middle. Sort of make a little indentation in the middle so my stuffing could basically sit there. Because you see, like I said, they're going to be a little tender in the middle. You don't want them too hard. You want them crispy, but you want just that center to be a little bit tender. So I'm going to start with the shrimp. So I'm going to do them separately. I have a nice amount on them. Some chicken. Obviously, if I was working in an activity, I would make sure I use gloves, change my gloves out. Obviously, because I'm working with seafood and chicken and all that. This is not the case right now, but yes, I am totally aware of that. So, in the end, you can sprinkle a little bit of some cilantro on top. There we go. So we have our 3 different proteins with our stuffed arañitas or arañita crouton. It's a shredded plantain. We have one with the pork belly, the other one with the chicken, the roasted chicken, and the other one with the shrimp. So hope you like the recipe and let me know what you think. Thank you until next time.